Welcome to LiveDaf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem. Welcome back to today's Daf Hayomi Maseches ARACHIN Daf Tesvav. We begin at the Mishnah on Yudal on the base, 6 lines from the bottom. So here's another example of a flat rate system, which is not really linked, not really connected to the actual value of the actual damage that occurred. So we had one example, which is the ARACHIN system, the flat rate system, which depends on age and gender, unrelated to actual value of the person that you refer to. We have the flat rate for redemption of the Sadeh Achuza, irrespective of the farm's actual value. We spoke about Shor Hamud. Here comes another example of a flat rate system. Ba'oines ubamafate lahak ulachmer ketzad. So how does this manifest? This flat rate that's applied to oines umafate, which can go either up or down. It can appear to be lenient or more severe than you would think, because again, it's a flat rate system, unrelated to the actual value of the damage that occurred. Ba'oines, a fellow who forcibly involved a woman with him, ubamafate, or coerced her, on which the Torah says there is a penalty payout, 50 shekel, and that can go up or down. It's basically lahakil ulahachmer, can be more lenient than you would think, or more severe. Ketzad, why? How? Because it's not related to the actual value of the damage. Echad she'anas upitas agdola shebekuna, whether this experience involved the most prominent of the Kohen family, v'saktana sheb'Yisrael, or the most simple from a Yisrael family. So either way, irrespective of her status, whether she's the most prominent of a Kohen family or the reverse, nois and chamishim slime, the same exact payout applies, 50 selah. And actually, that's only one of 3 payout elements. There's the kanas, the 50 selah. Then there's something called boishes, for personal shame. And then there's gam, for actual damage, actual market value damage, which she loses because of this situation. And Rashi brings that Gemara in Ksubis explains that we make an assessment. How much would a person be willing to pay to provide his eved with a maidservant to be with, and depending on that, right? So he would pay more for one that never had an experience, as opposed to this woman here. So there's a loss in market value. And that's the third payout, that's called pegam. So we're addressing the actual physical, pain, trauma, we're expressing the emotional experience and market value. So the fixed rate only applies to the first of the 3 payments. That's the 50 selah payout for the physical pain, for the actual experience. But the extra payouts, well, that's fluctuating. That's hakoy lafi hamavayish v'mizbayish. It all depends on the situation, on the identity and the status of the perpetrator and the victim. So, for instance, if she's a more prominent victim, so it's more shameful, as opposed to a less prominent person. So that's, in fact, reflective of the actual circumstances. So the Mishnah is basically teaching us that there are 3 payouts for oines and mafata. How do you know? Where do we find in the Torah a discussion about 3 payouts? The Torah speaks about 50 slime. Perhaps that covers all. Amai, why all these payouts? Ema, we can suggest a chamishim slime that the Torah speaks about. Amar Rachmana, that's mikal mila, covers all issues, right? It's all included. Amar of Zeira, it's unlikely, because then it's going to generate an ironic situation. Younger people will say, well, same payment for the most prominent victim as the most lowly, simple victim. Younger people will say, Baal, he was involved with Bas Malachim, a princess, $50. Baal, he was involved with Bas Idiotis, a woman from a simple family, also $50. Unlikely. So the only way to resolve this irony is that, in fact, there are additional payouts. And those are in fact reflective of the individual circumstances of the specific case. Amalei Abai responds, well, if you're going to work with that logic, so the same exact irony applies to an Eved. the shar kills an Eved, it's a 30 sela payout. Well, people will say, Eved Noigev Margolis, he's really a talented, productive Eved. He works with, diamond, a diamond cutter. Shloishim, pay $30. Eved Oisa Masa Macha Shloishim, Eved was just a simple sewer, needle, handler, so also Shloishim, unlikely. So evidently we don't reckon with that logic. The fact is that it is 30 shekel for the Eved, irrespective of his talents and his profession. Elamar of Zira. I'll tell you what the irony is. If it's just one payout, irrespective of circumstance, and it's all in one coverage, so you're not going to reckon with her physical, with her status? Ilu bo'aleo shnai. Imagine two men were involved with this woman. First, the first fellow, the irregular way. The second fellow, the regular way. So you're going to bill them both the same amount? It's unlikely, because there was a change of status here. Right? So people will say, well, it's not ironic. Baal paguma chamishin. The fellow, second fellow, whose involvement was with a woman who already was paguma. She was already affected. She already had that experience in the first person. $50. Baal shlema chamishin, and $50 for the first person as well. Where at that point we assume she was of a higher status. Her first experience. So it's unlikely. You have to say that change of status does somehow affect payout. Evidently, although the $50 payout is standard, but there are additional payouts as well, and those are reflective of her status. Rashi explains the shame factor drops when it's her second time, etc. Amalei Abai responds, well, again, the same exact irony you'll find by the Eved. Amalei Abai, if that's the factor you're worrying about, Gabi Eved Nami, the same applies to the Eved. Yemru, people will wonder, Eved Bari Shleishim. He killed a healthy Eved, $30. Eved Mukash Chin Shleishim. Likewise, the same 30 applies to an Eved who was full of boils and unhealthy. So apparently we don't reckon with this irony issue, because if so, the same question could apply to an Eved. So just like by the Eved, it's a standard 30, the same with the, who says it's any different here? By the way, the only difference between this second discussion and the previous discussion, sounds like we're sort of repeating ourselves. So the Yeshidim Kubestis explains, there's just a subtle difference here. The second discussion pertained to, bodily factors. The Mukashchin, the health situation, and etc. Whereas the first discussion pertained more to talents and to status, but it's a very similar type of argument. In any case, Abaye sort of upended this whole argument. He says, well, what's your proof that it's not more than the 50 sela for the Enes Mafata, irrespective of the particulars of the El Rabbi? I'll tell you how we know that in fact there are additional payments. Amar Kra, the pasuk in presenting the $50 payout, says, Tachas Asher Ina. This is on account of the pain. They're specifying this is for the actual experience, but for the other ill effects, this shame and the drop in actual market value, that's on top of this. That's an addition. Hence, we know that there are 3 payables. Rava Amar, another pasuk, the pasuk says, "V'nasan ha'isha shechi ima." This fellow who was involved with the woman, he has to pay. Now, why refer again to the experience? I mean, it's obvious. We know that's why. To point out that this payout is specific for that element of the crime. Hanas shchiva, the benefit of the actual experience, that's what he's paying for. Chamishim, machlal dika milsa achrita. Apparently, there were other payouts as well. Umayniu. What else is he getting charged for? Boishas of a gum. Hence, we know there are 3 payouts. So, Enes Mafata pays out 3 times. One is the actual penalty, the 50 kasef, plus the Boishas of a gum. Now, the Boishas of a gum are fluctuating payouts depending on the situation, depending on the circumstances. whereas chamishim kesef is a flat rate. So this is by oines or mafata who are physically involved. We have a fellow called a moitzi shemra. He engaged a woman. A while later he married her, and he claims that she had deviated during the engagement period, and she is deserving of severe punishment, misa. Turns out that he was just fabricating it because he disliked her. He's a moitzi shemra. He spread false rumors, false information about his wife. Once it's been discovered, there's a penalty applied to this person, which is actually double the earlier fellow. He has to pay 100 seller. And again, it's not really tied to the actual, value of the circumstance. It's a flat rate. The moitzi shemra, so once again, lahaka lahachmer can come out to be a kula or a chomer ketzad. How? Echad shoitzi shemra al gdoy shebekul. Whether he badmouthed a gdoy shebekul, a most prominent woman from a most prominent Kayan family. Well, Tana should be Yisrael, or a simple woman from a simple Yisrael family. The same exact amount applies. Nice and me'as selah. In contrast to the 50 selah in the previous Mishnah. What do we see from here? Verbal assault, verbal avera is worse than a physical avera. Words come from a higher place than actions. And higher than that is the machshava, right? The Chaim Volozhin, Nefesh HaChaim explains that's why a shoygeg, a person who does an avera by accident, is not as consequential. It's not as severe as mazid. I'm doing it willingly, because by mazid, aside from the action, there was a thought process involved. And the machshava of a person, he says, stands higher, is deeper, is more holy, more subtle. It's closer to the source than his words, than his action. So it's like a ladder, starting with action on the bottom. A rung up is deeper, and a level up is machshava. So deviating with one's words, one's mouth, a verbal avera is worse than a ma'isa avera, nimtza. So we learn from here, a fellow who spoke ill is chomer min eisa ma'asa, is treated more severely than a person who actually did something wrong. And that's why he pays double than the previous fellow. Likewise, v'chein matzinu, we find other examples, other manifestations of this concept where words are more consequential, more weighty. We find that the verdict was only sealed, was only applied to our forefathers back in the Midbar. So despite numerous issues, 10 in total, but what was the bottom line? What sealed the deal? Elal is Lashon Hara, only because of Lashon Hara that happened by the Meraglim when they came back and they badmouthed Eretz Yisrael. How do we know that was what sealed their fate? Look, it's been 10 times. This is the 10th time. This is the one Hashem says is going to bring about the punishment and lock you out of Eretz Yisrael. So we see the power of words, the positive and the negative. Look how consequential one's dibur is. So the first rise from the Moitzi Shemra, that he pays double than the Oines. So that highlights the power of words. Ask the one, how do we know that it's because of words? Maybe it's because he did something else worse. Because he's causing her death. I mean, if they would have taken his words at face value, she would have been killed. If it's true that it turned out that she deviated, with Yusanara, take her to get killed because she had deviated, right? So that's why we come down hard on him, because he was trying to cause her this type of result. Amarav, Amakra. No, the pasuk says the reason why we punish him is ki hoitzi shemra al besulas Yisrael, because of the bad reputation that he's trying to establish for her. Al shemra shahoitzi. So he's being punished so severely because of the shemra. Clearly, it's related to his words. And this is highlighted by the fact that in the Midbar, the punishment only came about once Lashon Hara was on the table. So you see that stands higher than all other deviations, the egel, etc. How do we know that that's the reason? My Dilma, maybe that was the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak. That's when the cup filled to the brim. So it isn't necessarily because it's more severe per se, it's just because at that point it got filled up on top of everything else. Maybe because until that point it still was not full. The container was not filled up. Hashem does not punish a person until the cup fills. So when the capacity is filled, then comes the tzara chas v'shal. Hashem has pointed to this event as the tipper of the scale. Now it's 10 times. This event is what triggered the Gzardin. Tanya, Amar Balazman Parta. Okay, speaking about the Meraglim, we're going to analyze the Psukim, the events surrounding the Meraglim. He says, look, Boyrei, come have a look. Look how consequential Lashon Hara is. Minolan, from where Meraglim. What were they speaking about? Sticks and stones. Look how severe, look how consequential is just a person who spoke about eitzim v'avanim, inanimates, stones, trees, the land. Kach, look how severely he's punished. Hamoitzi shemra al chaver, a person does the same on a person, on his friend, certainly it's all the more severe. Says the Gemara, how do we know that the Meraglim were held to task because of the Lashon Hara? Maybe it's because of something else. Dilma mishum der b'chanim papa. Damar Rabbi Chanina Papa Dover Gadol Dibru Hamaraglim B'Yisrael. At that time they spoke something very serious. They said, which is they came back complaining that the people in the land are stronger than mimenu. Simply translated as stronger than us, menu. No, instead of reading it simply stronger than us people, they were referring to Hashem, El Mimenu. Some read it Menoi, Hashem. Some say the extra mem. Could have said menu, mimenu. It's coming to refer to something else, to Hashem, Chas v'shalom. Kaviyachal, so to speak, even Balabayas, it's a metaphor. A Balabayas, a landlord, can't get in there. He would never walk in there to pull out get his appliances out. Even he's helpless. Balabayas, in this case, Kaviyachal Hashem, Ein Yochal Hoitzikel B'Shem, he can't even get his stuff out of there. Basically, they were questioning Hashem's ability to help them overcome the inhabitants of Eretz Canaan. So it wasn't just Lashon Hara, there's an element of lack of belief in Hashem. So maybe that's why they were. Elama Rabban Rish Lakish, a different pasuk tells us that in fact it was Lashon Hara. That was the focal point. Amakrov Vayimusu Anoshim, focal point of their punishment. Vayimusu Anoshim Moitziyah Dibas Ha'aretz Ra. B'Magefa, they died during the plague, and the pasuk refers to them as Moitziyah Dibas Ha'aretz Ra, put bad mouthing the land. Al Dibas Ha'aretz Tzil, their punishment was directed at the fact that they spoke Lashon Hara. Clearly, that was their main sin, and hence we learn from there the severity, seriousness of ill speech. Tanya Amar B'Yehuda, Eser Nisyonis, speaking of which, so here come the 10 Nisyonis, 10 difficult situations, the 10 times that Klal Yisrael challenged Hashem. There was a lack of belief, there was all kinds of situations. Eser Nisyonis, Nisog V'Seinu L'Akadosh Baruch Hu. So it was a total of 10 Nisyonis that our forefathers presented, so to speak, to Hashem. 10 times. Shnai B'Yam, twice. At the Yam Suf. Shnai B'Mayim, twice. Regarding shortage of water, where they complained. Shnai B'Man, twice. Surrounding the Man experience. Shnai B'Slav, it's twice. Relating to Slav, to the pheasant birds. Achas B'Egel, Achas B'Dapar, one by the Egel that we know of, and one B'Dapar, that was the Meraglim. The Gemara explains each case. Shnai B'Yam, it happened twice along the Yam Suf, one on the way in and one on the way out. Achas B'Yerida, Achas B'Aliyah. B'Yerida, on the way in, the Chsiv, it says, Hamiblein Kvar Mitzrayim, they were surrounded by the Mitzrayim, they were trapped, and they started complaining, why are we here? To die? We could have died in Mitzrayim, there were plenty of graves there. So there was a lack of there was an element of lack of faith in Hashem, that Hashem is going to save them. Bali on the way out as well. Could Rav Huna ask for Rav Huna? Rav Huna, Yisrael Shabbos Adar, the Yisrael that lived in that generation, they were somewhat lacking in their fullness of their faith in Hashem. How is that expressed? What does the pasuk mean? Pasuk in Tehillim. Vayamru al yam b'yamsuf. Vayamru means they sort of rebelled. Vayishem l'man shmoy. What happened? Melamed, we learn Shah Yisrael Mamre Moisés Shah. They were in a state of Mamre. They were rebelling. They were lacking in faith, and they were speculating that perhaps just as we made it through the Yamsuf, maybe the Mitzrayim are lying in wait on the other side. Vayimrim, they're suggesting Kashem she'anu olam mitzad, just like we're emerging from the Yamsuf right here on this side. Kach Mitzrayim olam mitzad achar, perhaps we'll encounter the Mitzrayim on the other side. So they're scared. Maybe they're going to bump into their enemies again. Interesting. Taisa says, what do you mean? How's it possible? I mean, Hashem made a nace, such a grand experience of Kriyas Yamsuf. Why would I even think that the Mitzrayim would have gone through the Yamsuf as well? I mean, how? So he brings an interesting explanation, and it's accompanied by this sketch, by this map here, in the Taisvis on the left side, towards the bottom. He says that in reality, they didn't cross straight through the Yamsuf. It was a semicircle. Interesting. So they came in, he says, on the north side of the Yamsuf. They circled around and came back again out on the north side, where the Mitzrayim were all along. That explains their fear. Look, we're coming out on the same side that we walked in. We'll bump into the Mitzrayim again. So it turns out, according to Taisus, that the whole experience of Kriyas Yamsuf wasn't to get them across the other side. It was just to, ultimately, the point was to drown the Mitzrayim and to show Hashem's, supernatural powers and have them experience this tremendous Gilui Shechina. But it wasn't necessarily to get them across, right? In any case, that was their fear. What are we going to do? We're going to bump into the Mitzrayim again. Hashem turns to the ocean, the Sar Shal Yam, the minister of the ocean, the Malach. He says, you know what? Spit them out. The dead Mitzrayim, let them see that their pursuers are no longer Amr Lefanav. So the sea turned to Hashem. I thought we're going to have a fest for the fish today. Is there ever a situation where an Eved receives a gift from his master and he has to give it back? The master comes and takes it back. You already gave it to me, let me keep it. Hashem says, don't worry, I'll pay you back with interest. 1.5 times as much. Here it's how many? 600 wagons, 600 chariots? I'll give you 900. In the time of Sisera, when they came to attack the Jews, they were swept away by Nachal Kishan. It was 900. Hashem paid him back. Hashem tells him, don't worry, I'll pay you back 1.5 times as much as them. She says, great, but who's going to guarantee that promise? But I'm not going to come back to demand it, to claim it. What do we find an Eved going to his master and claiming his, presenting a claim? It's not going to happen. I'm not going to. She says, don't worry. Nachal Kishan Ye'arev. There's a stream called Nachal Kishan. He'll be the guarantor. Make sure that you're paid back. So the Yam complied, spit him out, miyad, immediately Paltan the Abashi spit out the Mitzrayim to dry land. They all saw the dead Mitzrayim, and they calmed them down. The Chsiv Hayar Yisrael, they saw Es Mitzrayim Meis, they saw them dead, Asfasim. So we have 2 nisyonos, one on the way in, one on the way out. Shnayim b'mayim, 2 additional ones relating to water, b'mara, this place called Mara, u'b'rafidim. B'mara, the Chsiv, it says, they came to Mara, and it was bitter water, Hashem told Moshe to throw in the stick, sweeten the water. Uksiv vayelon ha'amosh. B'rafidim, t'chsiv vayachnu b'rafidim. They came to b'rafidim. There's no water. Uksiv vayarav ha'amosh, and they complained, right? Shnayim b'man, twice by the one. T'chsiv, returned on the base. Al teitzu, Hashem instructed, don't go out on Shabbos to pick the man v'yotz on someone out. So that was a violation. And al tasiru. Furthermore, don't leave it overnight. Don't eat it up and that's it. No leftovers. V'yasiru, and some people left over. So 2 more on the list. Shnai b'slav. 2 more issues with the slav. B'slav rishon, b'slav shleini. There were 2 times of slav, and both times there was an issue of complaining. B'slav rishon, the first time around, says b'shiftein al shirah basar. Recall our experience in Mitzrayim. We had plenty of meat. We need meat. B'slav shleini. The second time around as well, they complained. B'asaf shebekirba. There were some members of the community that complained. So we're at 8. The ninth is the egel, as we all know. Be'egel kadisei, we're familiar with that. As per the the psukim the Torah, but midbapar kadisei, as we know from the story of the Meraglim. Continues the Gemara. Further on the topic of lashon hara. Rabbi Yochanan, he quotes Mishum Rabbi Yossi ben Zimra. What does the pasuk mean when it says Ma yitin lecha u'ma yosef lach lashon ramiyah? Who is this referring to? Amar le Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Hashem is turning to the addressing the tongue, l'lashon. Hashem says, what can I do to stop you from speaking evil speech? Look, I fashioned you in a manner very different than the other limbs of a person. All limbs of a person are zukufim, are upright, vertical. You're lying. You're lying flat, horizontally. And to get you activated, you need to go against gravity. So it makes it a bit more difficult. I'm inhibiting, trying to slow you down from jumping into something inappropriate. Furthermore, you're protected, double protected, with a double layer of security to keep you under wraps. As opposed to the other limbs which are external, you are hiding inside. Furthermore, I protect you with two protections. Etzem, one bone, the teeth, basar, and flesh, the lips, right? What more can I do to hold you back from being rash and irresponsible? What more can I add? Can I lashon a tongue who speaks rumiyah, deceit and negativity? Amar B'Yechanan, Mishum Rabbi Yossi ben Zimra. In fact, a person who's involved in lashon hara, kilu kafar be'ikar. So he's speaking allegedly, benignly, not overtly showing, expressing that he's trying to badmouth somebody. He's doing it, in a hidden way, in a tricky way, thinking that nobody is going to pick up on his intent, on his agenda, trying to badmouth somebody. Just stating some facts, just right. But Hashem is watching. And a person who engages in this behavior, pretending that nobody is on his case, as though he's denying Hashem's existence. Shenemar, Asher Amru, Lul Shainenu Nagri, those who activate their tongues. So Seinu Aitanu, Mi Adainanu. Where's the Adam? Where's Hashem? Nobody realizes. Nobody's going to pick up on our evil agenda. In fact, lashon hara. What does lashon hara generate? Very well known, right? Negoyim, right? Negoyim by Malach generates a nega. Shnamar melashni v'aseiser rei oisa atzmis. Someone who speaks negatively about his friend behind his back. Oisa atzmis. What is the lashon atzmis referring to? Uksiv hasam. And we find the same word elsewhere, latzmisus, which means, in Targuminen, as we translate, lechalutin, for permanence. And the lashon muchlot is associated with nega, utnam. We find a Mishnah, ein bein mitzara muskar, the mitzara muchlot, very slight difference between a short-term, quarantined mitzara, the mitzara muchlot, or mitzara is muchlot, who's condemned sort of as a permanent mitzvah, long-term mitzvah. Ela priya, frima, two items which the muchla does and the muskar does not. Priya is let his hair grow, frima is tear his begadim. We see the lashon muchlat associated with mitzvah, which translates into latzmisus, which is contained in that pasuk about a fellow speaking lashon hara. So lashon hara leads to nega. Amarish lakish. Ma'dichsiv. What does the pasuk mean? The following is the process that will apply to a mitzvah. The word mitzvah is a comprised word. This will be the effect shel moitzi shema of a person who is moitzi shema, speaks badly about people and spreads false information about people. What does the pasuk mean when it says Then Yishon Balalosh. Right? The Nechash, the snake, he bites without lachash. And there's no fellow doing the chanting to hold him back. Likewise, Ein Yishon Balalosh. A fellow who is a Balalosh, speaks evil. There's no gain for him. What's the connection between him and a snake? Says the Mulasad Lavai in the days to come. So all the other animals will come together and stand by the snake and say, look, why do you have to attack people? We're hungry, we have no choice. But you could have eaten dust. It tastes the same, right? The pasuk says, right? Everything tastes like dust. So why do you attack people? They confront the snake and they say, look, Ari Duris Va'ichel, a lion attacks, eats, Zeiv Turif Va'ichel, likewise a wolf. But you, Ata Maha no Yishlacha, what gain do you have from killing people, from attacking people? Omer Lahem. So he responds, I was sent by Hashem, measure for measure. Who am I attacking? Attacking a Baal Lashon Hara, who also has no real tangible gain from just bad-mouthing people. What gain does a Baal Lashon Hara have? Person's involved in Lashon Hara, he increases sin, which go all the way up to the sky. The effects of the words rise all the way up to the heavens. He's fitting to be stoned. Regarding the Baal Lashon Hara, it says Oise Atzmis. Elsewhere we find a similar term relating to being stoned. Some by Yadu, they threw Evan, stone. Fellows involved in Lashon Hara, Hashem says about him, I can't live with him together. Me, Kaviyachal Hashem, and him cannot live together. As this pasuk says, Meloshni b'seisei re'eu, fellows involved in evil speech against his friend, Oisei Atzmis, Giva Enayim, Ruchav Leva, Giva Enayim is a haughty fellow. Again, Lo Oisei Le'uchal. Oisei Le'uchal. And we learn Altikri Oisei, instead of reading it Oisei Le'uchal, Ela Itoi Le'uchal. I can't associate with him, I can't be with him. Ito Le'uchal. I can't be in his company. Ve'ika Demasni Lo Agasi Ebrach. Someone applied this concept to the haughty person, as per this pasuk where it says Gva Enayim. Amar Rav Chiza Marukva. Kolam Asap Lashon Hara. Fellows engaged in evil speech. Hashem turns to the minister, the Shar of Gehenna. He says, we'll both take care of him. I'll judge him from above, and you from below. Then we'll both judge him and punish him. Fellows involved in shooting arrows of evil speech. So firstly, Ein Chetz El Lashon. The reference to an arrow relates to the words shooting out of his mouth. So we speak about a fellow who's involved in Lashon Hara. And Ve'ein Gibor El HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Chitze Gibor, the word Gibor refers to Hashem. Shnam Hashem Ki Gibor Yetzeh. So Hashem judges him from one side, and the Gachli Samim referred to in the pasuk, that's the fire, the coals of Gehenna, Hainu Gehenna, on the other side. Amar Rabbi Chama Bar Chanina. Mata Kanosai Shom B'sap Lashon Hara. How does he fix himself up? What's the remedy? What's the cure? What's the spiritual antidote to Lashon Hara? Im Talmud Chacham Yasa B'Torah. If he's a fellow who can learn Talmud Chacham, so how does he fix up his mouth and his tongue and his speaking abilities? By redirecting them to Torah, to words of Torah, which heal, which fix, which remedy. Shenamar Marpe, right? The healer of the Lashon is Eitz Chaim, that's Torah, right? Vein Lashon Ela Lashon Hara. So the Lashon here we're speaking is about negative Lashon, and he's coming to fix it up through Torah. Lashon Hara Shenamar Chetz Shachad L'Shaina, right? Evil speech. And the Eitz Chaim, that's Torah. Vein Eitz Ela Torah Shenamar Eitz Chaim Machzikim Bo. So that's if you can learn Torah. V'imam Ma'aratzu. He's a fellow who's just not Ma'aratz who can't learn Torah. Yashpil Da'atoi. What's his remedy? How does he heal the illness in his tongue? Lashon hara is generated by haughtiness, perceiving oneself superior than the other. Humble yourself. Inject a bit of anava into your life. And start seeing things from a different perspective. Start respecting people and their actions. Yashbal daite shnemar v'salaf ba shavar v'salaf ba, which Rashi says Misham Mesulaf ba, he was entangled in bad speech. Shever beruach, break your spirit, humble yourself. Rabbi Yachab Rab Chanina Aymer, Sipar in Leitakon, a person who was heavily involved in Lashon hara. There's no way to fix it. You don't know who he spoke about. Sheva Kursa David Ruach HaKodesh David HaMelech. Cut him off with his Ruach HaKodesh. Nemar Yachros Hashem. Has to be cut off and die. That's his takana. Kol Sivsech Halakas. Lashon there is doilos. Elamat Takanosa Shlo Yavadi Lashon hara. Rather, I'll present a preventative measure beforehand. What do you do to get safe from Lashon hara? To protect against speaking Lashon hara. Take that koyach hadibur, that power of speech, and get it invested in good things, which will leave it unavailable, right, for Lashon hara discussion. Im Talmud Chacham, purify your speech through Torah. Im Talmud Chacham yasak b'Torah, v'ma'am aretzu, islam aretz yashbal daitai. Adopt some humility in your life, shenemar v'selav b'shevar beruach, which will prevent you from speaking Lashon hara. Tana Dveri Bishmal. Kalam Sapa Lashon hara. A fellow who's involved in Lashon hara, Magdal Avoinais. You can generate the worst sins. Keneged Shalosh Averis. The three cardinal sins. Avetz Kechavim, Vigili Arois Shvichastam. How do we know? Ksivach Lashon Deres Doilais. We find about Lashon hara a reference to Medaberes Gedoilais, which is similar to Avodah Zarah. We find Anna Chata Hamazeh Chata Gedoila. So Gedoila refers to Avodah Zarah. Likewise, we find Gedoila by Gili Arayis and Shvichastam. Begili Arayis, Ksiv Eich Es Arag Gedoila Hazois. We find Gedoila there too, and Shvichastam as well. Ksiv Gadol Avayim Minus. Now it only says Lashon Daberes Doilais. Doilais is plural too. How do we know it covers three? Gedoila is Emotarati. Maybe it's just two out of the three. Well, which one are you going to deduct? Hayim and Mafkas. Which one are you going to exclude? It says Doilais by all three, so you have to include them all. B'ma Rabban as Yisrael Amr, they would say like this: Lashon Tlisai. You know what the effect of a triple tongue is? Rashi explains. A triple tongue is the third element within this mix. That's the Rachel, a fellow who's forwarding information, transferring, personal stuff between Reuven and Shimon. So Levi is the one that's gossiping to Shimon about Reuven and causing a fight between them, causing hard feelings. Look, what Reuven did about you is Reuven said about you, right? So it can kill three people. Katul Lisai. Which three? Reuven, Shimon, and Levi. Hoyreg. La'im right. Ula Makablai, Ula Imran Olav. So it kills the person you're speaking about and the person you're speaking to, Reuven and Shimon. Rashi explains because it's going to generate a machlokes between them. They're going to fight. It's going to generate a serious fight. They can kill each other based on this information. And then the Goyeli Adam will pursue the children will pursue this fellow who caused this whole fight, who caused our parents. You, boom. So Reuven, Shimon, and Levi, all three can get killed through a single piece of rechilus. I once heard another explanation that you kill his reputation. When you speak about a bad-mouthed person, you're killing him. You're killing his good name. Life and death in the hands of one's tongue. Does a tongue have a hand? A tongue can physically kill. Does a tongue have the ability to kill? Does it have a hand? It comes to tell you. Yes. Ma yad mis, just like one can kill with his hands. Af lo shon misa, likewise, can kill with his tongue. Kill his reputation. Smear his name. Ima yad einam misal b'samachlo. No. So if you're comparing it to the hand, perhaps just as the hand could only victimize something close by, flush and likewise a tongue can only do that close by. Einam misal b'samachlo. Chetz shachad l'shoinam, like an arrow which goes far, far away. Well, even that's limited. If you compare it to the arrow, perhaps up to 40, 50 yama, as far as the arrow can travel. Flush and likewise his tongue is limited to 40, 50 yama radius. No, PM, up to the sky, has a very far-reaching effect, beyond the power of the hand or the arrow. Ask the Gemara, okay, so just say this last pasuk, which is the furthest than all three. What's the Torah? Compares the power of the tongue and relates it to something as far as way as the Shamayim. So why do we need that other reference to an arrow? Kamash from the pasuk is teaching us to cut the chetz. Here we see it has an effect, far-reaching effect, but it can actually kill like an arrow. That's the point. Once we have that pasuk, comparing it to the arrow that can kill, why do we need the third pasuk? What's that for? Look at the Rava. As Rava teaches us, there are two sides to the coin, right? Not just negative. The tongue can be utilized for good or for bad. You have a choice. Hashem gave us the power of speech, right? It can be used for good or for bad. Look at the Rava. I'm a Rava. The boy fellow wants life. You can accomplish it with your tongue, says Rashi. Yasek b'Torah, right? On the flip side is the boy Mias. He wants Misa, Mayas. Also b'Lishnei, with that same tongue. Rashi says Yasek b'Torah shtus and get involved in silliness. So, hence the pasuk and the lesson of Mavis v'chaim b'Mavis, Mavis v'chaim b'yad haloshin. Okay, we should always to use our God-given speaking abilities for good only. So we had the first we had the Mishnah about the flat rate of the Elis Mafata, in addition to the two additional payments of Pashas Pagam. That took us to the next Mishnah, the flat rate of the Meitzah Shema, which is greater than the other ones. We see the far-reaching effects of speech and the severity of negative speech. We see it from the Shemra, from the Meraglim, where we learned that was the final, deviation which actually sealed their fate to stay in the Midbar, due to the fact that it involved Lashon Hara even on inanimates in Eretz Yisrael, called Koshka, and certainly one has to be careful about speaking positively about a fellow Jew. Interesting, by the way, the Rambam, I think it's in Hilchos Deis, he speaks about the proper motive of proper behavior of a person. He says that you speak positively. So they ask on the Rambam, obviously Lashon Hara you don't speak, it's an Isser. Why does Rambam have to point out that you speak? So they say that Lashon Hara is one thing, okay, but sometimes it's not Lashon Hara, but it's not positive. Complaining, cynicism, criticism, that also should be avoided. It's a virtue on its own to be positive, to always look at the good of things. Because look, everything is an expression of Hashem, and Hashem is good. Hashem is creating all this as chesed gomer. The whole world is predicated on chesed. It's sourced in chesed. Everything within it, what people do, what people don't do, people say, don't. It's all chesed. So having a proper perspective means viewing everything in a positive light, which is what Amunah is all about. It's all Hashem. So it's all Kitayv Hashem lo ilam chazeh. Okay, we spoke about the importance of speaking, avoiding Lashon Hara, and the negative effects of Lashon Hara, kafar be'ikar, tzaras, etc., etc., etc. And ultimately, the point is, we have that power, very strong power, of dibur, of lashain, and if it's used positively, it can generate chayim instead of the opposite. Tzlach Rabba, all the best to you.